In this video, we are going to multiply polynomials, group them, and then simplify. Now, remember that a polynomial is several monomials, so many monomials. And a monomial is a constant, for example, 2, multiplied by a variable to the certain power, for example, 2, another variable 3, and so on. So, for example, negative x. What is negative x? It's negative 1 multiplied by x to the power 1. X. What is x? It's 1, the coefficient, multiplied by x to the power 1, and so on. Now, what we need here to multiply polynomials, we need to know how to multiply monomials first. So let's do an example. 2x multiply negative 3x. That will give me, I multiply the 2 by negative 3. That gives me negative 6. And then I multiply the x by x. That gives me x to the power 1 plus 1. That gives me x2. Let's do another example. I have negative x multiplied by x. So remember, negative x, we said it's negative 1 by x. X is 1 multiplied by x. I multiply negative 1 by 1, that gives me negative 1. And then x by x, that gives me x2. And when the coefficient is negative 1, we just write all this as negative x2. Good. Now, let's go to part A. There are two parts here. Let's go start with part A and multiply this expression with this and then subtract this from it. Okay, let's start. Now, look, we have a negative sign here. So let's keep it outside for now. This negative sign, it's in front of all this expression. So we keep it outside and then we multiply inside. So we have negative 2x by negative x. Negative 2 by negative 1 gives me 2. And then x multiplied by x, that gives me x2. Good. And then negative 2x by 3. Negative 2x by 3. So I multiply negative 2 by 3. That gives me negative 6. And then x I multiplied by what? Now here we need to explain this. So I'm going to explain it here. I have negative 2x multiplied by 3. So how do I apply the rule here? Now remember that to the 3 we can say it's a 3. It's a 3 x to the power 0. Because x to the power 0 is 1. This is 1, yeah? So 3 times 1, it's a 3. We didn't change anything. And then you do the same thing. 3 by negative 2 by 3, that gives me negative 6. And then x to the power 1 plus 0, that gives me 1. Now that you have understood this, we go and we do it straight away. So negative 2x by 3, that gives me negative 6x. Good. I have distributed the negative 2 on here. Negative 2x, sorry. I go now to the negative 2 and distribute again. So negative 2 by negative x, that gives me what? Plus 2x. Negative 2 by 3, that gives me negative 6. Good. Now let's go here. Here, what do we have? We have a minus sign here. A minus sign, this is like negative 1 multiplied by this. So you just distribute. Okay? So negative 1 by 3x2, that gives me negative 3x2. Negative 1 by x, negative x. And then negative 1 by negative 2, that's plus 2. Again, here there is a negative sign. I can say this is a negative 1, and then I multiply 1 by 1. Good. So negative 1 by 2x2, negative 2x2. Negative 1 and negative 6x plus 6x. Negative 1 and multiply by 2x, negative 2x. And then negative 1 by negative 6, that's plus 6, minus 3x2, minus x plus 2. Now we group. Now there is an equal here, of course. There's an equal here. So we group. We start with the highest power. Negative 2x2 minus 3x2. Now here we go and review again. How do we add monomials? Now I have negative x2 minus 3x2. Now this x2 has got the same power. I factor it out. What do I have? Negative 2, negative 3. That gives me negative x2. Of course, in practice, what we do, we add this coefficient that gives me minus 5, and then we add the x2. But this is the math behind it. Good. So negative x2 minus 3x2, that is minus 5x2. And then I have the terms with 6x, negative 2x, negative x. Again, I just add the coefficient 6, minus 2, 4. Remember, there is a 1 here, minus 1, 3. So plus 3x. And then we are left now with the last terms, which are the constant 6 plus 2. That gives me 8. Now let's go and do part B. Now in part B we have got a term here which looks like this. Now we have a formula for this. It's a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. But if you don't like the formula, you can just expand it in a very basic way. A plus b multiplied by a plus b. I will go for this. Simply because sometimes we forget the formulas. Whether it's a minus, whether it's a plus, we get confused. But in this way, this is very basic expansion, and normally we shouldn't forget it. So the square, it's the term expanded. Good. Now 3, let's keep it outside, and then we go inside, and then we expand negative x by negative x. That gives me an x2. Negative x by negative 5x, that gives me plus 5x. Negative 5 by negative x, that gives me plus 5x. And then negative 5 by negative 5, that gives me 25. Now let's distribute here. Minus 4 by minus 1, that gives me plus 4. And then the x by the x, that gives me x2. And then negative 4 by negative 7, that gives me 28. And then of course let's not forget the x here. Good. So let's continue. Let's group here inside. That will give me an x2. Now I have 5x and 5x, that gives me 10x. For x2 plus 28x. Now before we move on, let's compare this with what the formula would give. The formula would give me negative x power 2, which is x2, plus 2ab. If you multiply negative x by negative 5, that gives you 5x, and then you multiply by 2, 10x. And then b is minus 5, you square it, it gives you 25. So it's correct. Either way, it's correct. Good. Now let's distribute the 3 over here. So 3x2. 3 multiplied by 10x, that gives me 30x. And then 3 by 25, 3 by 25, that gives you 75, plus 4x2 plus 20x. Good. Now we start grouping, starting from the highest power and then the next and so on. We have got two terms on x2, 3x2, 4x2. Here. Same power, so we can group them. 30x, 28x. X has got the same power again. We can group them. 30, 28, that gives me 58x. And then the constant term on its own plus 75. So this is the expression in part B, expanded, grouped, and simplified.